G'day, it's Joel Rasmussen for Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his fight at Eternal 83, I'm talking to Mr. Tasar Malone. Tasar, thank you for the time. It's awesome to see you again. How are you?
Thank you much, Joel. I'm very how are you?
I'm well. The internet is struggling, so we're going to make our way through it. But I'm well. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. How have you been?
I missed that. I cut out. I'm so sorry, my man. What was that?
I was just saying the internet's rough, but I'm still happy to be talking to you. How have you been since the last time I spoke to you?
Yeah, it's always a pleasure talking to you. I've been well, man. Been very busy, just in the gym, training hard, working and upskilling constantly. But yeah, life's good, life's great. 5 days out from Eternal 83, and then yeah, ready to go again. Get to do what I get to do.
So the first time I interviewed you, you were a mere 0-0 man who had just turned pro, and now I talk to you as a 2-0 gentleman. How has that been? How has the fight career been going?
Man, it's been great. I am so stoked on how the journey has unfolded. I went through the amateurs and I experienced a four-fight win streak, and then I went and experienced a three-fight loss streak, and that was a challenging time, and it very much tested me. But I'm super grateful for it, and I believe everything happens for a reason. I then used all that growth and lessons and whatnot as strengths, and then turned it around to finish off my career with as an amateur. Sorry, with a couple more wins and maybe a potential loss in the mix there as well. But then, yeah, when turned, thought it was time to make the call. I, was against the clock, so to speak, and so felt like I had the experience with me to then make the call and turn professional and do this as my job and go and chase my wildest dreams. And then, yeah, I've started off hot on a 2-0 win streak. So, yeah, man, I'm stoked and I'm just going to keep that ball rolling.
Talking about that, when I spoke to you, you were a man who was making his lightweight debut, and now in the pro ranks, you are now moved to featherweight. This is your first featherweight fight as a pro. What inspired the move to featherweight?
Um, I feel like I um, was competing against guys that I felt were a lot taller, larger potentially than me. And once I sort of learned a bit more and worked with some great people in regards to the whole like weight cutting side of things, I realized that I could, potentially shift which weight class I was fighting in. So yeah, it's all been experimental. I love pushing my body to limits and stuff, so to speak, or just pushing myself in general to the limit. So yeah, super keen to get into this new weight class and take over.
How are you feeling physically at this new weight? How has it been to train kind of at this different weight?
Yeah, I feel great. I feel a lot faster, more agile. Yeah, it's just all the things that I thought would happen when I, was a bit more stricter and disciplined with my eating and my performances
Now, you talked about earlier about
or my training.
you've been upskilling and just so you said the types of people you're going against. Between your first fight and your second fight, you went and you had a BJJ competition with King's Cup BJJ. How was that, and why the decision to go in and do a BJJ comp?
Man, I just love competing. Hey, I always want to test myself. I always want to compete. I've found that putting myself in those environments has helped me grow and improve a lot faster than just going through, you typical just train until you potentially get a fight. With that said, down at Combat Training Center, the training that we're doing is phenomenal. We're constantly the coaches there are all extremely high level, very experienced, and super knowledgeable. And we're looking into what the best and the best are doing we're learning from instructionals and then applying it. We're drilling. We're constantly leveling up our game, and yeah, just doing great work down there. So I feel like um, that on the training mat, on the training in the training, as well as competing just in things like the King's Cup, grappling invitational, and other competitions have all just been a catalyst to then keep improving and going and performing in an MMA field.
You said there, you compete when, you never know when potentially you might get a fight. So the between the time of your second fight and your third fight is a lot shorter between your debut and your second fight. Was there any difficulties getting you matched up? What was that kind of chunk of time there for?
This is going back last year, I believe. And I feel like my memory is not the greatest, but I feel like had um, I had a I wouldn't say terrible, but I had a bit of a shitty injury that I was dealing with post fight. So that sort of impacted my training and my growth and getting back in there again. But then once that was healed up, I was then sticking my hand up, wanting to get booked, I believe, for the Sydney card that was last year, and I was unable to secure an opponent for that. And then similar thing happened with the Perth card. I wanted to get overseas, not overseas. I wanted to go interstate and fight and branch out. And similar thing, I just couldn't get a fight locked in. Whether it was myself or opponents or not having the right matchups or something, I'm not sure, to be honest. But I just play it all as constantly training, constantly improving, and just being ready all the time for when I do get the call and when I do get something booked in. I'm ready to show up.
You've healed all right up from that injury. Was it something that forced you to have to not train? Like, what was kind of the nature of that?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't anything major. Touch wood, I haven't had any surgeries, and I don't plan on. So, it wasn't anything massive like that. But yeah, just to, and I also don't really want to make it too known, especially coming into a fight. But yeah, no, that's all very much healed up. A very old injury now, and hasn't impacted any of my training or performances. So I did have a little bit of time on the sideline, so to speak. But even with that said, constantly watching people train, constantly listening, learning. You can learn many ways visually. Listening. You can journal and write things down. Plus, also, I was still training all other areas of my body and my game that I could, keeping that injury in mind.
How was that for you, and what kind of, like, you touch on there how you did it? What was that kind of mental uh development like for you during that time?
Yeah, look, I think it's something that's very important for athletes or for anyone really, that when you cop a little bit of adversity, to not let it dull you down and hold you back, to look at it as like, all right, I've got this going on, but let's look at things from a different angle, and let's still constantly work and improve and grow just in other areas, or adjust and adapt, on the fly, to still get good work in, to still learn and upskill and level up. And I feel like you can definitely do that in regards to anyone and anything. There's always a way, always a way.
Now, ahead of fights at Eternal, they'll do like, I think it's called a fighter profile. They'll do like a little interview with you that gets written up and put on the website. And I was reading through some of them that you've done, because you've done a few. And I read that you used to be living in a van outside of the gym. You are now coming to me from a house. What has that difference been like? Are you still living in the van? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, man, it's definitely something that I'm a big believer in, burning your boats, or having no plan B. And so I got to a point where I realized that if I was in the comfy rental and paying my bills and whatnot, and having to go and work and stuff, so to speak, that then it was taking away time from me chasing my dreams and being on the mats and growing in school. So I was able to save up every little penny and cent that I could, and I ended up getting a van, a very small one, and it was just the bare minimal. And then yeah, I was able to live a minimalistic lifestyle, and I was fortunate enough to be on uh, private property from friends and people in my community to help me out, and then yeah, live out of that, and then train full time. Um, by doing that though, coming through summer, it's pretty tough. Lots of mozzies and very hot. It was almost like I was trying to sleep in a sauna, constantly. So it got to a point though where it started affecting my sleep and my training. And I was very fortunate enough to have some beautiful people around me offer a small little space at their joint just until I get this fight done, and then we go back into a bit cooler period in the seasons. But yeah, I do love it though, man. Something about not having much and still being super happy and going and doing what you love and chasing your passions, man. I feel super grateful for life and appreciative every day, and the people around me help make that happen. And you know, I feel like you don't need all these things to truly just be happy and yeah, and love what you do.
That's the real reason you made the move to featherweight. You were sleeping in a sauna. The weight must have just fallen off.
Pretty
Um,
much so. Pretty much so.
Nicer living back in the house. Are we not liking living in a house now?
Yeah, man. My sleeps have gotten a lot better. I'm not covered in mozzie bites and stuff, so I am extremely grateful to have the nicer side of things again. And it's something that I'm starting to realize is that I used to be in this mindset where you don't need anything, and the hard road is the best way to go, which I still believe in. It calluses your mind and it makes you tougher and a stronger individual. I truly believe that. But then also I'm starting to realize that you can enjoy the nicer side of life, and the nice things and whatnot from your hard work. You can enjoy the fruits from your hard labor. So I am excited and looking forward to what's ahead of me in regards to those kind of things. I've never had a nice car or something, or my own little place or something. So there are things that do motivate me to try and provide those for myself and my friends and family. Um, but yeah, at the moment we just enjoy the journey and the whole process. It tells a story, and yeah, builds
Talk-
character.
Talking about the fruits of your labor, Eternal named you the 2023 Breakthrough Fighter of the Year at the end of the year. How nice is that? The company obviously has, they have faith in you. They look at you very happily. Oh, the lights went out. How nice is that for you to to be named that?
Man, it is such a blessing, and I'm so grateful for it. I remember that morning I woke up and I picked up my phone and I had all these notifications, and normally I don't have too many. And so I picked up my phone and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then I went and clicked on it and I saw that I had been announced, yeah, the Breakthrough Fighter of the Year. And I almost had this feeling of just like of being super proud of myself and being like, you've been busting your ass for so many years behind the scenes, and I love that. I'm not taking anything away from that, but I was like, it's nice to have a little bit of recognition from that. This isn't something that happened overnight. This has been no matter what sport it's been. I've always wanted to just work the hardest I possibly can, and give myself the best opportunity of success. And then, yeah, to have little things like that, little milestones and accolades along the way, it's nice. It's a good feeling. And yeah, it made me feel proud of myself.
The first time we spoke to each other, we talked a lot about more or less talking things into existence. We talked about you naming your phone the champion's iPhone and that idea of the eventual championship. Your Instagram bio also reads future champion. Two questions.
Yes.
in general, how is that mindset going for you? And also, uh, will that championship be at featherweight? Is that where we're staying?
Yeah, so the first question in regards to, I still 100% believe that you can speak things out into existence, but you also got to back them up with action. There's one thing just talking about it, but you still got to go out and do it, and you know, have the proof in the pudding. It's still very much my mindset though. You got to speak it out. You got to say it. You got to believe it. Tell yourself every day, even if people think you're being delusional. Just know that you know yourself, and that's something that I say to myself often. My phone's still called the Champions iPhone, so I'm still running that, still believing in it, and yeah, it's I've actually trained alongside just for a week the current eternal featherweight champion Justin Van Heerden, and it was an interesting opportunity for me because not that I was a featherweight at the time, but I sort of took away things from that experience to say to myself that yeah, that's not too far away, and that's definitely not unachievable, and that's what I'm focused on. Um, Whether it's him or whether it's someone else, potential lightweights as well. We'll see. Time will tell.
What is that like when you train with the guy who, like, of course, the game is crazy. Who knows where anyone ends up? But you train with the guy who holds the belt in the country. What is that like for you when you're training with Justin?
So that was just a week that I did a year or two ago down at Freestyle MMA. And yeah, it was just an unreal experience. I mean, Alexander Volkanovski was in camp at the time. I believe it was against the Brian Ortega title defense. And to see like the number one pound for pound training and working, to be on the same mats and in the same rooms as himself and Joe Lopez, head coach. I was super grateful for the experience, and it's something that was such a big eye opener for me, and such a great time. Learnt heaps from them all, but B, it also showed me that they're just like you and I. They're just men, and trainer people that are training and athletes and stuff that have just gone after what they wanted, relentlessly and with no quit. And so it was like showing me, and not that I didn't believe it already, but it was showing me, that just stay on the path and keep going, and you can too hold the belt and be a champion. So that's what I'm doing.
Talking about that, I don't, would never encourage anyone to look past an opponent. But I feel in Australian mixed martial arts, we're at a place where we're seeing a lot of young champions, a lot of guys who are coming through who capture the title early on in their career. When you've got these goals to become the champion, do you have a roadmap in your head of when you would like to get that shot?
I live my life by this quote. It's very small, but it's just as simple as tomorrow's never promised, and it just keeps me present. It keeps me my feet grounded, and knowing that everything in life is just one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. So, although I have always had big goals and dreams since I can remember, I always look at what's in front of me. So, this weekend against my opponent Ethan Mitchell, not looking past him at all. It's going to be a cracker fight, and yeah, my pure thoughts is just go out and perform and do my job, and then the rest of that will just unfold naturally. So
Talking about the man you are facing this weekend, Ethan Mitchell. What are your thoughts on Ethan as an opponent?
I don't know too much about him. I will never underestimate anyone. He has a unique sort of wild style, which I'm super keen for. It's going to be a really nice battle, and yeah, I'm just super confident in myself, my skills and abilities, and my team. The stuff that we do every day in day out. I feel that we can solve any problems that's in front of us. And yeah, I'm just keen as to just get out there. It's been a long camp. I've got so many great people coming out to the fights. I've got all my sponsors, my major sponsors that have helped me get here, and like my whole team behind me. So yeah, looking forward to getting in there with Ethan. It's going to be a great punch on, great fight, and yeah, I just want to go out, do my job, get it done in front of everyone, and go and soak up the moment.
Tasar Malone, I thank you for the time. You were fighting this weekend. You were fighting Ethan Mitchell on the Gold Coast at Eternal 83. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Joel, for having me, and I'm really looking forward to the weekend. So let's go, let's get it done.